I'm Deborah Borchardt, and this is your midday market update. Well, we have seen some selling today. We did get some economic news this morning on the housing starts that were definitely better than many had thought we were going to get, and yet it wasn't enough to keep buyers happy here in the market. Joining me now is Ben Willis from Princeton Securities. So Ben, and looking at the volume right now, the volume is strong. It's an expiration day. So apparently this number was not enough to bring people back to the table.
Well, the world markets were lower coming in ahead of this, with some of the impact still being felt throughout the world. And I think what we had been seeing for the last few days is European and Asian selling in the United States market, so that we had not really felt that pressure. Yesterday it was very evident. If you watch the sell-off, basically we came to a screaming halt at 11:30 with the volume we had been seeing. Today's a little bit different in that it's an expiration, but again, we'll get another look at 11:30 to see how much of this is European-related selling. But there was enough good news if the market wanted to rally. But as you mentioned, the housing starts. Some of the retailers put on a pretty good show today after disappointing numbers from some of them yesterday. So we had some justification, but we didn't follow through, and we're kind of wallowing back and forth right now to the slight negative side. And again, I would continue to tell people to keep an eye on the Russell 2000 and the S&P 600 as your indicator. They have been leading in both directions. Yesterday they had a nice performance on the bounce off the bottom and turned higher before the other major indices did. Today we saw them kind of leading to the downside. So keep an eye on those, I would say, more so than the Dow.
Now, what can we think about the energy? Because I know that you've been a very strong bull on the energy. Where are you at now in that group?
I am still bullish. Again, I believe the world economy is improving. There's no real discrepancy in that. The problem is pricing its trajectory of how we're going to grow. But as China continues to take the steps that they think necessary to continue to grow at 7%, wouldn't that be lovely to be at 7% in the United States? And all that it's going on with the world crisis and what's going on with Russia, that gives me the idea that energy is one of those sectors that will benefit from the world crisis. Not necessarily the price of crude, but all the infrastructure that goes with it. Today there was a lot of chatter about Chesapeake. Most of the driller stocks have put on a great performance over the year, but they've been under pressure lately. Today Chesapeake was lower than most of the stocks I was in. Halliburton and the like, those are the ones I usually trade regularly, were under some pressure today. But that's to be expected. Once again, everybody was looking for a correction in the market, and when we start to get one, people tend to panic. And one of the reasons I like to go on the air and explain to people is this is the time when you need to keep your head, and nobody yells and screams when there's a sale at Macys. So why are people getting upset when there's a sale at the stock market? And as you said, many people have been calling for this and wanting it. So correct. You would be surprised that people panic when it happens. Yeah, and the surprise really to most people that have been in the business, I've been down here for over 30 years, is the bond market, and seeing that money flow back into the bond market. Again, there's some supply-demand issues with the number of bonds that are available for people to buy that may have a decision, but I can't think of anybody that in January would have told you that the 10-year yield was going to be below 2.5% at this time of year. So there's some confusion there that's adding to this whole displacement of the market and where asset managers should be. But I think, once again, I have not given up. The end of the year, we will be higher.
All right, there you go. So, folks, even though you're seeing a little bit of red today, don't worry. Ben says it'll be green by the end of the year. That's Ben Willis from Princeton, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.